I blame Peter Obi for apologizing, and that is why his supporters are called all sorts of names. AISHA YESUFU. A few hours ago, a well-known Nigerian human rights activist, AISHA YESUFU, while sharing on her official Twitter page, has reacted to the criticism and attacks Peter Obi supporters are receiving from some Nigerians on social media. While sharing on her official Twitter page, AISHA YESUFU she is not happy with the criticism and attacks Peter Obi supporters are receiving on a daily basis, adding that it is all because of the way Peter Obi is always coming out to apologize for everything, and that has prompted people to have the courage to criticize his supporters. According to AISHA YESUFU, she said, "I don't blame you guys, I blame Peter Obi that came out to be doing those nonsense apologies or cautioning or whatever he thought he was doing. This or that is what has given every Tom, Dick and Harry the audacity to call his supporters all sorts of names. He gave you the fuel." Okay, I think AISHA YESUFU is pretty much like, "See, Peter Obi, you need to step up. I don't have time for all this sluggishness." And I think that's the energy that AISHA YESUFU is given. But really, to be honest though, I think whether he apologizes or not, yes, I think his apology does give fuel and also makes him accountable and makes him, enable or give more weight to what the critics are saying, and saying that way he does give them the fuel and makes them right in the fact that they call his supporters, certain names. So yes, I think in that regard, it's obviously not good for his supporters, but I think his intention, right, is not necessary to do that. But the point is, whether he apologizes or not, you have to understand the OBI and the Peter Obi movement, even before Peter Obi started apologizing, has already been making waves. The movement is intimidating those that it needs to intimidate, and a lot of people find it overwhelming. Why? Because I think the gravity and the magnitude of the support that he has, it is overwhelming, and a lot of even competition, opposition, and even some supporters of other parties do feel intimidated because the movement is just big, and the attempts they must have had to quench it has not worked. So that in itself provides a lot of intimidation. So you can't really blame, them. It's just the movement. If the movement is too, and if you're not going to join it, that is fine. But really, Peter Obi's movement is against the norm. It's against the narrative. It's against the tide. If you look at what is happening, you'll see that, it's going against the two biggest parties that have led Nigeria since, a democratic, since we've gone into a democracy, that is since 1999. And so this is basically like a very big change. You have the two biggest parties unable to gain that much, attention as they normally would. So it's a movement against the tide, against the norm. So of course there will be resistance, but whatever happens is what happens. To be honest, really, I don't think if Peter Obi stopped apologizing, that in itself will create more arguments. So really, it's feeding into narratives of people that at the end of the day, whether Peter Obi apologizes or not, they will still find something to pin on him and his supporters. It's really, I don't think it's inevitable at this point. You're talking about your own country. You're talking about those on Twitter, Instagram. Again, as they say, since they want to call the movement a social media, online movement, we're going to see when campaigns start, when it's actually time to take action and come out to vote. Because really, the criticisms are not going to stop. Again, we have to understand, Peter Obi movement is not the norm. Even those that, I guess, were expected, or Nigerians expected to be on the side, or to be on the side of the movement, Nigerians will be like, wait, what? You know? So really, it's not like Nigerians have had to choose the worst of two evils, but this time we now have what, because it shows that if Nigerians had the choice to have an individual like Peter Obi, would have chosen a long time. So really, the fact is, okay, fine, which set of Nigerians are ready to make change? Because if you know what you want and you see it in a candidate, you would go for it. And the fact that you've had APC and PDP for the past years who haven't done anything. It's like, well, the situation does not require that as a Nigerian. I will have to choose the less of two evils. I actually have another choice, and I will go for that. So really, that's what it is. I don't think there's anything, because I'm like, how is it? It's inevitable. They're gonna keep insulting Peter Obi and his supporters. Again, it's competition. You just can't have expectations of anybody at this time. Families are breaking up. Friends are fighting because of politics and because of who they're supporting. So really, it's not just a social media thing at the end of the day. What targets, what strategies are they going to play that the youth don't know about? The biggest resistance, obviously, we've seen was from the NSAS protest. And really, I don't think anything would shock Nigerians anymore. If anything, if the government tries their best to shut Nigerians down, what would actually happen is they would end up embarrassing themselves like they did, ban Twitter and shoot at Nigerians, which at the end of the day really made the Nigerian government look even worse and out of control. So I don't think there's any worry in that regard. So literally, whether Peter Obi apologizes or not, the criticisms will keep coming in, flood through, breaking the gates. Now look at the comments. First of all, this individual says, if he did not apologize, some people will come openly and say Peter Obi supporters are always insulting people and he did not say anything. Exactly. And how you apologize is still a blame. Nigerians, only God is 100% when you tell them that you talk. Okay? No more apology. Apology is not a weakness, but a strength. Okay? AISHA, please allow Peter Obi to reason for himself and take decisions for himself. Supporting him doesn't mean we have to manipulate him. For God's sakes, allow him some space, please. You're talking like Adeyanju and Omokri. Let's respect his decisions. Okay? Obi is simply being civil and determined to ensure that we can do politics without bitterness. Exactly. I'm literally just saying, he's a man of class. At the end of the day, you think his apology will just stop these haters or the trolls stopping, the movement online. It's not. They still continued anyway. So it's not like as if he's trying to stop it just to show that, he's all about peace. Look at the whole Father Mbaka story. Look at the way he reacted. He literally said, he's my father. He's my brother in Christ. He was saying all these things, not that it means he's one to accept nonsense or just accept to be insulted, but he's just bringing peace with every attack that he gets. And I think that's a very smart move for him to make, because really, if a reaction is what they want to see, they will not get it from Peter Obi, and that is the best thing. Him apologizing is not a reaction, and is not what they're looking for. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.